listening to Becoming Badass. And today you're going to learn how do you start being who you want to be and also learn a very powerful tool that I personally use to help me get clarity and deal with the fear that is inevitably going to come up.
When you start to reach outside of your comfort zone, which lies everything you want, including how to speak up and use your voice and be who you really are.
This is where you learn how to stop playing small and find yourself so that you can find real happiness being your true self as the truest, freest, most badass version of yourself. I help givers, pleasers, and selfless people, aka people who are too nice, become the main character of your own life.
Phoenix with my master's in counseling, certified practitioner, and coach with 20 years of experience going through and overcoming huge obstacles in my life personally to now feel genuinely happy and secure in myself and helping you discover who you are, trust yourself and your inner knowing, and develop rock solid security and self worth and who you really are.
Finding who we truly are is a process. It is a path, if you will. And on this path, there's going to be many, many challenges and obstacles that are going to get in the way of really coming home to yourself and unlearning the things that have brought you to this point that haven't been serving you. Remember when I started doing this work, I was in a very bad relationship and in a dark place. I knew that there was more inside me, and I knew that the patterns that I was stuck in, that I just didn't want to continue to go down that path that I was on. I was willing to do anything to change my life at that point. It was a very painful time in my life. I was a very anxious and fearful person. Kept repeating the same things over and over again in my life, in my relationships. The same dynamics would play out, even with different people. And it was just maddening. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it wasn't until I took radical responsibility of my life and said, okay, yes, I don't want these people in my life, but somehow I'm creating the same thing over and over again. Now I see that life was trying to teach me that I deserved more, that I deserved better. But when I was in that place, I was literally brought to my knees, realizing that I was participating in these patterns by continuing to tolerate them. And it was learning that my life was a mirror to what was going on inside of me. So the pain and the emptiness and the heartache I had inside of me, I was actually creating the same dynamics in my relationships and my relationship with myself. When I took responsibility for my thoughts, for my feelings, and for the circumstance that I found myself in, because I was choosing to participate in this, in that one moment, absolutely everything changed. Because when I took responsibility for where I was in my life, I finally had the power to change it. And I was willing to do anything to get a better life for myself and my kids. And I worked my ass off. I was no longer willing to participate in the same type of dynamics, relationships, circumstances that I was just cycling through over and over again, year after year. And that meant I had to take responsibility for where I was right then because the only thing I could change was me.
At that time, I struggled a lot with people pleasing and putting others first, trying to fill up a hole inside of me that I can only fill myself. It wasn't until I started realizing that the things that I was taught were keeping me silenced, small, unhappy. And in order for me to break free from that, I had to confront all that old programming and conditioning, and I had to break out of that mold.
We have been conditioned to be small and not take up space, not stand up for ourselves or speak out or use our voices at all. This causes us so much inner pain, turmoil, and unhappiness. There's no way you can live a happy and fulfilling life by staying safe your whole life. It may be comfortable, but you're not going to get the life you want by taking no risks, by not going out of your comfort zone. You're going to be miserable and happy if you live your life letting fear dictate all the things you're not going to do and prioritizing safety instead of getting what you want. When we put ourselves in the driver's seat of our own life and stop letting safety dictate our actions, we are finally in control. We can finally feel free to be who we really are, who we were meant to be, and live our lives by doing what's right for us, not by trying to avoid getting rejected, disapproved of, and not liked. 10 years ago, I was not who I am today. Literally, I have changed so many times. It wouldn't even be Phoenix 2.0. It would be Phoenix 10.0 because I'm ready for the change. I'm ready for the transformation again and again and again because I know it's going to take me where I need to go. I know it's worth it. I've raised my hand and said, I'm ready for this. This may be a scary freaking roller coaster, but I'm ready. Let's do this. And you can decide who you want to be. How many of us let other people dictate who we are? How many of us let other people tell us this is who you should be? This is the right type of person. This is what a good person does. And how many of us are living our lives giving and pleasing and helping others and putting other people first and ourselves last? And when we do this, we're saying, I don't matter. I'm not enough. I'm not deserving. And we're showing ourselves this every single day because we're letting other people define us and tell us who we are. And the crazy thing about this is who determines what's a good person? Who really says, well, this makes you a good person? Who is this person? And this person that you're looking for approval and validation and acceptance from, they have the power. And until you can say, I no longer care if this person thinks I'm good or a worthwhile person or that I'm living the right way, I no longer care because I've realized I've given my power over to this person, or maybe it's society, or maybe it's expectations. I no longer care. I'm not going to care. And there's so much freedom in that. You will feel emotionally free, mentally free, and you can finally unfold yourself from this pretzel that you have contorted yourself into. You can stop living in that closet, that tiny closet that we've talked about in the other episodes, that we've shoved ourselves into to survive. You can come out of that closet and say, you know what? I'm ready to take up space. I'm ready to speak out and show up and learn what I want. So many of us just don't even know what we want. You know why? Because we've been prioritizing what other people want to death, that we've lost ourselves completely. We have no idea who we are or even who we want to be. So ask ourselves, and I don't want you to listen with your head. I want you to listen with your body. That little whisper inside yourself. Who do you want to be? Be that. Be that fearless, badass version of yourself that has now awakened inside of you, that is going to start to take life and start to grow. But guess what? Every day you have to feed it. You may have heard that story. There's two dogs inside of you, and the one that is strongest is the one you feed. Which one are you feeding every day? Are you feeding the positive, courageous, fearless, badass part of yourself? Or are you feeding the fearful, the scarcity, the hurt, the self-loathing part of yourself? And how we feed it is our thoughts, our feelings, what we choose to dwell on. Our focus determines our life experience. So what you choose to think about day in and day out chooses how you feel. And this is your experience in life. What you focus on determines your reality. Tony Robbins talks about this. Your focus is everything. That's going to determine your state in life, how you're feeling on a daily basis. And when you can control your focus, you're going to feel the way you want to feel every single day. I help my clients learn how to do this, learn how to take control of their lives and be who they want to be, not who they were told they should be, but who they want to be, and to find themselves and learn to trust themselves down to their core. So when I asked you who you wanted to be, what came up? Then I want you to close your eyes and visualize this. Who do you want to be? Visualize it actually happening. How does she dress? How does she talk? What does she wear? What's her haircut? How does she live her life every single day? How does she show up? Then, how do you feel? Did the fear come up yet? Did you feel the knee jerk like, this is scary? Then, sweetheart, you're on the right track. If you felt those feelings, see, it's interesting. When you do this long enough, you realize that there's two types of fear.
There's irrational fear and rational fear. If, let's say, a dog comes running at you, a big dog, and the dog is snarling, you would be afraid for your life. That is a real threat. That is a rational fear. And let's say you're afraid to go on a date. That is an irrational fear. There is no threat of harm there. It's just very uncomfortable and you're going out of your comfort zone. So it is a perceived threat. And you may have heard the acronym that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. So when you can start to question, is this a rational fear or an irrational fear? It helps you get clear on, okay, this is where I'm holding myself back because my imagination is telling me of all the things that could happen that most likely won't happen. And it's keeping me safe, but it's keeping me from what I actually want by staying in my comfort zone.
And notice that's just a thought. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your feelings. So just because you have a thought or a feeling doesn't make them true. It helps and realize this is just a thought. This is just a feeling. It doesn't mean it's true. And when you can take a step back from your thoughts and your feelings to get detachment instead of just believing what they're telling you, logically assessing the situation and seeing if there is any truth to that thought or that feeling. So it helps me to remind myself, oh, this is just a thought. This is just a feeling. What's the truth here? Take time to notice if this is a perceived fear or an actual realistic fear where you could be hurt physically or emotionally. But if you're always running away from scary feelings, uncomfortable feelings, then you're not really knowing the different things that could truly hurt you and things that you're just perceiving that will hurt you. We have a choice. We can let our feelings control us and avoid ever feeling uncomfortable, anxious, scared by staying inside our neat, cozy comfort zone. We can feel the fear and still go after what we want. We are strong enough to deal with the discomfort and the fear and believe that we can handle it, that we can get through those uncomfortable, challenging feelings. And what we're wanting is on the other side of fear. When you can learn to get control over your thoughts and get control over your feelings, then you are in charge of your life and you can determine how you choose to live it. And you can live your life however you want to live it, regardless of the feelings, instead of how most people are living their lives, being controlled by their feelings and their impulses, doing what feels good, avoiding what feels bad, which means you're never going to get out of your comfort zone. All the good stuff is outside of your comfort zone. So stay in the comfort zone and have mediocrity, or get outside of your comfort zone and start getting the juicy things you really want. You know, everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. Everything you want is on the other side of the fear. You have to go through it. And actually, funny enough, when you face the fear, it feels like it's this big monster, right? And the more you avoid it, the bigger it's getting. But when you actually face it and confront your fear, it shrinks because it's our imagination that is blowing it out of proportion. So we don't have to fall for the lie that something horrible is going to happen if we step out of our comfort zone. It's not serving you. We're literally scaring ourselves from leaving our comfort zone. Or we can notice the fear and still go after what we want. It's a choice, and it's uncomfortable and it feels bad. So it's so much easier to say, yeah, you know what? I'm not leaving my comfort zone. I'm good. You can decide that, you know what? Yes, this is scary, but I'm going to do this anyways. You'll notice that you're afraid and excited, and it's exhilaration. It's amazing. But you have to be able to notice the fear, but still go after what you want. Learn to notice and recognize when you're doing something scary that feels exhilarating, but in your heart of hearts, in your body, it feels right. And it's so scary, but it's right for you. That's where you're supposed to be. That's where the magic happens. So keep feeling the fear and doing it anyways. When you're ready to start speaking up and speaking your truth, then this may be for you. I'm going to be opening a new, amazing, transformative program. It's going to teach you how to start speaking up and speaking your truth fearlessly. If you're interested in that, then check out the link below because there's going to be a wait list and there will only be a handful of slots. So this is going to be a very intimate group and it's going to be just life changing. And you can learn to finally show up as who you want to be instead of who the world keeps telling you to be. And that, my friends, is true freedom. That visualization you had is showing you what you dream you could be. And as you are seeing who you want to be, notice the feelings that are coming up. Notice the fear that wants to shut that down and wants you to go back into that closet and wants you to shut up, sit still, be quiet, and don't do anything unless you have permission. That visualization is what you could be, and it's up to you. You have the vision. Now we have to make choices every day that align with that vision. It's not listening to things that help us grow and transform our lives. It's the doing. It's the application. But it doesn't have to be overwhelming or feel like too much. You can do it in baby steps. So we learned in this episode that we can get so much clarity by asking ourselves, is this an irrational or rational fear? And then telling ourselves, this is just a thought. This is just a feeling, which gives us distance from it so we can actually observe it and whether it is actually helpful, not helpful, true, not true, and take as long as we need to come up with the answers instead of just automatically assuming that it's true. Just because a thought or feeling feels true doesn't make it true. You can become the badass you've always wanted to be. Punch fear in the face and live your life on your own terms. Till next time.